have a problem. We begin our look at sports with the Yankees. The Bronx Bombers brought their bats with them to Houston, but not their pitchers. Brett Gardner led off Wednesday night's game with a long home run to right field. For the next 3 hours, that stood up as the highlight as their pitching plunged them into a 5-run hole by mid-game. They did manage an impressive rally late, but a 4-run eighth wasn't enough as they lost 8-6, completing a 3-game sweep by the Astros at Minute Maid Park. The Yankees, who swept last-place Baltimore to start the trip, blew late leads Monday and Tuesday. Yanks are now 5-7. They had the travel day and the off day on Thursday and are back in the Bronx to welcome the Chicago White Sox tonight for a weekend series. The Boston Red Sox come to town Tuesday night. The Mets, meanwhile, split a 2-game set with Minnesota, wrapping their homestand Wednesday night in a 9-6 victory. The club opened a 4-game weekend set with the Braves in Atlanta last night. And this morning, what an April day to be a Mets fan. The 8-4 Amazons defeated the rival 7-5 Braves 6-3 in the team's first meeting of the season. Steven Matz outpitched Kevin Guzman, and both Ahmed Rosario and Pete Alonso led the way with home runs. Mets are in first place. Promised you a little look into the Mets home opener. That loss stung, but perhaps it helped the team regroup during this latest stretch. We go inside the locker room for more.
He's a very, very polished hitter. I think beyond his years. I mean, not the best day today, but we all have those days, and for him to get this one out of the way, I think he'll be able to settle in a little bit more on Saturday.
I mean, every day here in the big leagues is a dream for me, and it's extremely special, especially the reception I've got from the fans, and I couldn't ask for more. I mean, I feel really blessed and very lucky.
I thought it was good energy. I think you got to give credit to their pitcher. Great pitcher, and he had really good stuff tonight. He was executing pitches at the bottom of the zone, keeping us off kilter, and they just beat us. I thought our starter pitched a heck of a game as well and kept us in the game, gave us a chance to win. We just didn't get the big hits at the right time today.
On the ice, the Islanders made a triumphant return to the postseason at Nassau Coliseum Wednesday night. Josh Bailey swooped in and knocked in a rebound into the net to send the New York Islanders home with a win. Bailey scored at 4:39 of the extra period, and the Islanders beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-3 on Wednesday night in the opener of their Eastern Conference first-round playoff series. That series continues tonight in Uniondale. Game 2. The Brooklyn Nets will get down to business tomorrow. The NBA playoff schedules are out, and the Nets will face the 76ers in Game 1 Saturday afternoon in Philadelphia. Game tips at 2:30 p.m. The Nets' first playoff home game in 4 years will be next Thursday, April 18th. Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports. I love when I'm right. Okay, I guess I'm only good when I have 50-50 odds. Virginia will be remembered for its epic failures no more. Confetti fell on the Cavaliers after a classic championship game that far exceeded expectations for offensive firepower. Virginia got off the final rounds in an 85-77 overtime victory over Texas Tech. Classic game. Congrats to New Rochelle native Ty Jerome and Virginia on winning it all. Ty, I'll see you in the NBA. We won't see Chris Mullin in the head coach's chair at St. John's anymore, and that's a shame. Mullin cited the passing of his brother as the reason for stepping away. Arizona State's Bobby Hurley won't be taking the gig, but Iona's Tim Cluse very well could. Tiger Woods began his 22nd Masters yesterday morning, just 2 years after believing he was done with golf. Although Woods has acknowledged previously that he was in bad shape physically because of back issues, he dropped a couple of previously undisclosed tidbits. He said he attended a 2017 dinner with past Masters champions needing a nerve blocker to deal with the pain, and that he left immediately afterward to visit a specialist in London, leading a few weeks later to the spinal fusion surgery that eventually allowed him to resume his career. Now he is among the favorites to win the Masters. Time changes a lot. A lot has changed since Dustin Poirier submitted Max Holloway in the first round of a featherweight bout at UFC 143 in 2012. The 20-3 Holloway became a featherweight champion and has turned into one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. At age 27, he's already working on legacy fights and will attempt to claim an interim lightweight title against Poirier at UFC 236 in Atlanta. That is UFC's main event this Saturday night. The Alliance of American Football is no more, of course, following the financial implosion of the 44 players from the 8-team league have signed with the NFL teams over the last week. The fact that so many of these players quickly landed in the NFL underscores the reality that securing the ability to borrow NFL players who sign future deals after the end of a given season would have done little or nothing to save the AAF. Indeed, the AAF already had 44 bottom of the roster NFL players on its teams, and it didn't matter, because the league ultimately failed because it didn't have sufficient funding, of course. Magic Johnson ultimately failed in the Lakers front office because he didn't have time for the job. Magic's abrupt retirement leaves a big hole in Lakers front office, both in terms of his job and in terms of his larger-than-life personality that helped make him an icon in L.A. Jeannie Buss, the Lakers' lead owner, needs to be bold and find an elite, experienced GM, team president to take over Magic's actual job with the franchise. On the ice, the New Jersey Devils are searching for their first pick. The Devils won the NHL draft lottery on Tuesday night for the second time in 3 years. New Jersey had an 11.5% chance to win the top pick. The franchise also picked first in 1979 and in 2017. The New York Rangers drew the second pick in this year's draft, followed by the Chicago Blackhawks. The Rangers were most likely to pick number 6 before the lottery, which turned in their favor. The same could be said for the Blackhawks, who were in the 12th spot before their improbable jump into the top 3 picks in the lottery. Them's the breaks, sometimes good, sometimes bad. That's the story for Luis Severino and the Yankees. The staff ace won't be back on the mound anytime soon. An MRI on Tuesday revealed that he has a grade 2 lat strain and will not throw for at least 6 more weeks. Severino was sidelined to start this season due to inflammation in his right shoulder and missed opening day, where he was slated to kick off the Yankees season. The lat strain, however, is a separate issue, which the team believes he sustained while attempting to rehab his initial shoulder injury. In the NFL, the New York Giants have a new deal for up-and-coming wideout Sterling Shepard. The G-men are finalizing a 4-year, $41 million pact with Shepard. The deal includes $21.3 million in guaranteed money. According to ESPN, Shepard, a second-round pick out of Oklahoma in 2016, set career highs last season with 66 catches for 872 yards. He has started 43 games with the Giants, catching 190 passes for 2,286 yards and 14 touchdowns. Congrats to him. Show me the money. And how about one final look at what went down during WrestleMania week in New York? Roll them. Check this out. Now, what makes WrestleMania the best day in sports?
Oh man, it's just the fans, being with the fans, talking wrestling, talking old school wrestling, to the Macho Mans, to the Hulk Hogan's, to the John Cena's, the Rocks, to the Seth Rollins today. I've been a fan ever since I was a little kid. I'll probably be a fan until I die. I love WrestleMania, I love WWE, and it's like the logo says, then, now, and forever.
Now, is it fair to say that professional wrestling is the craziest sport there is?
Craziest sport? Could be. It could be.
Craziest fans.
Craziest fans, yes. The experience is amazing. We've been to a lot of Monday Night Raws and all that, so going there, being amongst fans, being amongst the wrestlers, how they interact with fans, it's an amazing experience.
So it's not about WrestleMania. It's not about sitting in a stadium for 8 hours watching them do the same spots that they do year-round. It's about, like he said, seeing people with the belts and the shirts and dressing up as their favorite characters. That's what WrestleMania is all about. You have Comic-Con, right? Well, this is ours. We all get together and we can all talk about wrestling because that's what we love to do.
Awesome event and awesome week. Same could be said for this coming weekend in Austin, Texas. It's nearly impossible to say Circuit of the Americas and MotoGP in the same sentence without mentioning Marc Marquez. Since the Formula One circuit in Austin, Texas joined the MotoGP championship in 2013, the Repsol Honda pilot has been the lone star. Marquez has claimed all 6 wins from pole. The Spaniard had not just dominated in Austin, he won every MotoGP round he raced on American soil, including 3 wins at Laguna Seca and 1 at Indianapolis. To add to those stats of winning all 10 MotoGPs he raced in America, he also claimed pole at 9 of those. This year's installment goes down on Sunday in Austin. I'll take Valentino Rossi for the win. He made the podium last time out and could actually challenge again this weekend. Got to go with those old guys, IndyCar will be in Long Beach this weekend. We are less than a month away from the IndyCar Grand Prix, which means the Indianapolis 500 is on the way too. NASCAR announced that today's Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Busch Pole qualifying session at Richmond Raceway will see the first 2 rounds shortened from 10 minutes to 5. The first round will see all cars go out in a group style for a lap or laps, with the top 24 moving to round 2. The top 12 from round 2 will move on to the final round, which is also 5 minutes in length. This is not a permanent change to qualifying, as discussions are continuing to take place regarding the qualifying format for NASCAR's Top Series. The format for NASCAR's Xfinity Series qualifying at Richmond is unchanged. The enhanced weekend schedule will see inspection take place Saturday afternoon, and that will officially set the lineup for Saturday night's Toyota Owners 400. Locally, how about a shout to Fordham baseball? The Rams are 21-13. They are in Richmond this weekend for a series against VCU. Go to fordhamsports.com and WFUVsports.org for more coverage. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for the biggest play on the hardwood that Magic Johnson botched in his career. Between the lines, getting LeBron James was a huge score for Magic Johnson. It didn't pay dividends for Magic and the LA Lakers in the first year, but despite missing the playoffs again, it doesn't mean that it won't long term. The jury is still out on LeBron in LA. He easily could be the Michael Jordan version from the Washington Wizards, even if his stats at this point in his career say otherwise. While the jury remains out on the King in LA, from a Magic perspective, it certainly looks like Johnson provided one of his biggest assists to the Brooklyn Nets in being what appears to be wrong about D'Angelo Russell. Now, I don't think he was wrong about deloading's maturity at that point, but again, Russell was 19 and in LA. He's 23 now and in New York, Brooklyn to be exact, and the Nets star is the main reason why they're heading to the playoffs. He had his best season as a pro, averaging 21.1 points and 7 assists while playing 81 of 82 games and making his first All-Star team. He displayed improved leadership and maturation. He also reacted positively when Kenny Atkinson, the coach responsible for changing his career trajectory, showed him some tough love. The Nets started 8-18, but were able to withstand long-term injuries to Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie because of Russell's increased production at point guard. The 6th-seeded Nets will take on the 3rd-seeded Philadelphia 76ers in the first round of the playoffs. As we noted earlier, Brooklyn will be the underdog, but Russell isn't satisfied with just making it this far. The Nets will ultimately have a significant decision to make on Russell, who is set to become a restricted free agent at season's end. Hopefully, Sean Marks and the Nets brass won't make the same mistake Magic Johnson did. D'Angelo Russell can ball, folks. Nets fans, be happy he's your point guard now. And perhaps take note, Kevin Durant. I'm just saying. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.